Hey Pisces, how you doing? My name's Alex. I think the Oracle and I have something interesting for you here. The first thing I heard before turning on the camera was dew block. It was just the word. I didn't see it written or anything. I don't know if it was like D-E-W block. Maybe you have to prevent something from getting wet in the middle of the night, or if it was dew block, like D-U-B-L-O-C, which is, I think, a French name, or dew block, like D-O block. I have no idea, but it like really stuck, and it seems strange. And I asked the Oracle, like, do you really want me to write this down for Pisces? And she was like, yeah, dude. So, dew block. I don't know. And then the next thing I got was I saw this sort of blue, whitish, soft, almost gray light in the shape of a cone coming down in some dark space, and then rings of light descending down from the top around this cone. And I thought of like cones of protection. If you know about West Coast American witchcraft, maybe you're familiar with like the Reformed Orthodox Order of the Golden Dawn or groups like that. I don't even know if they're still around, but you know, they were popular in the 70s, and groups like that, those sort of West Coast covens, they taught like putting cones of protection around themselves and around people that they loved, or something like that. You know, you could just put a cone of protection around an idea, where you just imagine this cone surrounding a person or a thing or a concept, and it's supposed to repel destructive or negative influences from this thing or person. I also thought about those cones of silence from Frank Herbert's Dune books. They're sci-fi books, now popular movies, but it looked like that. What I saw was like this cone of bluish, grayish, whitish light, and it had that sense of like protection and silence. And you know, these characters in these books and movies, they go into these cones of silence. It's like a technology that, so no one outside the cone can hear their conversation. It's so they can have private conversations. And again, that sort of has this protective idea. So maybe there's just something or someone that you need to protect. It could be yourself, it could be an idea, a project you're working on. It could be like a relationship or something like that. But it seems that in order for this to endure over time, it needs to be protected. And you might need to protect it through, I don't know, spiritual or occult means, or just literally. I'm not sure. But the rings coming down from above makes me think like, okay, this is like proper protection ordered from above, you know, like the heavenly order coming down and influencing this protection. So it's like good. It's, you know, it's the proper order of life, this type of protection. It's not like this desperate, I'm scared and need to protect myself, or I'm scared and need to protect this thing. It's like, no, heaven is mandating this thing ought to be protected. And I got hexagram number 32 for you, hung, or long lasting, with the third line changing, which changes to the hexagram relief. So maybe the numbers 32 and 40 are significant to you. But here we have the elements of thunder over wind. So we have an active energy being supported by a gentle energy. Long lasting, you know, this is endurance, perseverance, persistence. Now on like a quite literal level, the preceding hexagram to this is mutual influence, which generally indicates a newlywed couple. So if you have recently gotten married, or you're thinking about getting married, this is probably a pretty good relationship. It's going to be a pretty good relationship. It will probably stand the test of time. But with this changing line at the third place, you just might need to take a beat and think about it. Or there might be some type of hesitation or meditation required, some type of figuring out, waiting for something to clear up, like waiting. Maybe there's just some, I don't know, some negative energies around it, and maybe there's some argument going on around it or something, and you just need to wait out some negative energy, or like a storm. But for others of you, this is like you took some type of meaningful vow, or you created a goal for yourself, some type of important aim, something that you've been working toward, and it needs your attention, obviously, and you might be feeling like you have to change direction at this time, because with this third changing line here, there's kind of this idea that you're carrying this really heavy load. It's like a burden. This aim of yours, this pact you made, this vow you made, this goal, this ambition you have, this aim you have, is starting to feel like a very heavy burden, and you're carrying it uphill. And it looks like there's also a storm coming, and this is just it feels like it's getting to be not what you signed up for. You know, this sort of, oh, this wasn't in the job description kind of a feeling. So you're being advised to take some time and rest, find shelter from this storm, let this storm clear out, don't move forward with that this time. Maybe some of you are feeling like you need to just keep moving forward and keep pushing forward. While that is true in the long term, in the short term right now, it's more important that you rest and seek shelter from whatever storm is coming, or just give yourself a break with this. But don't change direction. This is about sticking to your aim. If it feels too difficult and it feels like you don't want to do it anymore, try to remind yourself of why you took this vow or made this decision in the first place. What made you want to do this? Refresh your mind. Take some time for yourself and close out the distractions of the world. See if you can minimize your responsibilities to, just whatever your obligations and responsibilities are, so you can really just be with yourself and really reflect on, what's going on here? Why did I decide to do this? What is my aim? And remember what your real aim was, and what that inspiration was, and what the foundation was, and what led you to make that vow and take this decision. Because standing firm right now and not changing direction is the move. That this storm will pass, this sense of heavy burden and this uphill climb eventually ends. You will be able to move forward with this. Just at the time, for this time, just take time to yourself, because moving forward right now could bring a problem. It could lead to some sort of disgraceful situation, or a big insurmountable issue, or you burn yourself out and you totally give up on the goal, or you decide it is just too difficult, I'm changing direction, I'm dropping this goal. If you take the time to rest, meditate, seek shelter, comfort yourself, you'll get back that inspiration and that enthusiasm that you originally had for this goal, and you'll be like, oh, okay, now I can move forward. Now it's fine. Cooler heads prevailed. I found the enthusiasm again. All right, now we can start moving forward again. But I really think you ought to just take a breath for a while, take a breather for a little while. And stick to your guns, stick to your aim. Don't give up. Don't give up. Things seem hard sometimes, but that's probably because your goal is worth doing, whatever it is. Whatever is worth doing is usually pretty difficult, and we have lots and lots of setbacks when we put our mind to something and we really work hard toward it, and it becomes a focus and an aim. There are going to be times where the fun stops and the difficulties are glaring and feeling insurmountable, and the wind just gets sucked out of our sails and we just don't want to do it anymore. But find that inner strength, and if you can't find the inner strength, then just take your mind off of it for a while. Indulge in a hobby, focus on other work, but don't change direction on this. I really feel that. So I'm going to spin a coin. It's going to land on one of these 24 symbols here. We're going to develop this reading for you and focus on an aspect of your life, and hopefully get some more specific information from the Oracle for you. So Oracle, what does Pisces need to know? So we have the way of the open palm, or a sort of merciful, graceful attitude. This symbol here is just an open hand It's associated with the right-handed path of the tree of life. If you study Kabbalah, just think of the right-handed path of Venus, Jupiter, and a transcendent sphere known as Chokhmah, or wisdom. A nice balance of feminine and masculine energies. On that right-handed path, you have like a fatherly love and generosity, you have emotional sensitivity, you have unbridled spiritual joy, you have gracefulness and gentleness. So this cone of protection, a lot of the time, people who walk the right-handed path as they ascend the tree of life, as they walk through life and ascend spiritually, they tend to be very gentle creatures, right? And unfortunately, in the world in which we live, such creatures need protection. So perhaps you are walking the right-handed path and you need to protect yourself from destructive or deleterious forces. Perhaps you know someone who's on the right-handed path, a very graceful, merciful, gentle moon child who needs to be protected, someone who might be naive or has the air of naivete and needs a lesson in protection or just needs to be protected. And you might have some responsibilities there to focus on. That could be part of what you need to seek rest and shelter for is there's some negative situation that you need to protect yourself from or protect others from. Because sometimes there are situations in life that someone on the right-handed path just really can't deal with on their own. This is a very difficult, harsh world we live in, and people who just walk the right-handed path and don't balance with the central or left-handed paths tend to have very, very, very difficult lives. Or they can, not that they tend to, but they can, with things like politics and money and deceitful people, dangerous people. There's just a lot of shit in this world that right-handed people can really easily struggle with. So let's see here. The way of the open palm. Or maybe you just got to be merciful with yourself, kind to yourself. You know, that could be part of this taking a break, is like just be gentle with yourself. You might be in a very serious mode. You might be stuck in like seriousness mode and you're being asked to like just relax. It's not all so bad. You're not failing. It's just things are tough right now, but you're not failing. It's not your fault. And that's another thing with this hexagram is no fault. That shows up in the text, in the Yao text it's called, where it describes the hexagram. Like there's no fault here. There's just some external difficulties that you need to seek shelter from. And so don't beat yourself up. It's not your business that you gotta, that there's these difficulties and hardships. Like you just gotta deal with it and just wait for it to pass. What is this? Oh, these two came out. So we have the Three of Cups and the Knight of Cups. So here, sorry, I'm gonna have to protect your virgin eyes. But here we have the Knight of Cups and the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups here, this deck of cards says abundance. And the Knight of Cups, he's got a little crab in that cup. I love that cute little crab. So here we have a great deal of Cancerian and Piscean energy. So the Knight of Cups, this is like really just getting into touch with your heart center. Maybe you got to do some Sufi heart expansion exercises. I know when life gets me down and there are just these difficulties that I got to deal with, and there's just crap that society's throwing at me, and I start to get bitter and resentful and angry. And like the Buddha says, anger is a poison that you drink, thinking it's gonna hurt the other guy. It doesn't help. And the Sufis just have that heart expansion, that sort of heart chakra thing where you just focus on expanding your heart center to encompass everyone in the world, the whole universe, right? And to just love yourself and extend that love to everyone else, no matter what. And it helps. It really just makes things easier, at least on an emotional level. And with the Three of Cups, you know, the Three of Cups here, this is like a party. Well, this is ensured success. So maybe this rest you got to take is really just straight chilling with some friends, friends or family, with your spirit guides. If you're doing like hardcore spiritual work, and perhaps you work with non-human entities, take a day where you don't work with those entities, but you just kind of hang out with them, kind of like imaginary friends, and just shoot the shit and relax. I think you need a day like that, and to be like open-hearted and vulnerable with them. Even with your friends, if you can have like a nice intimate get-together where it's just a few of you chilling, and you just kind of open up to each other and just talk about life. That's what I like to do with my friends, is we just sit around and talk about life. We just talk whenever we have hangouts. I just put on music and we talk. We're never distracted with television or movies, or, well, we like to watch movies, but that's because we're into videography and filmmaking and stuff. So it's not really a distraction for us. But anyway, I like to really just connect with my friends and on like a really deep level. And it's always just such a great like experience for all of us. We all feel refreshed afterward. We all feel better about our lives afterward. We just open up to each other and get everything off of our chests. And maybe you need to just do something like that, you know? Just open up to some friends and family, and be kind to each other, be kind to yourself, or to some spiritual entities, or just by yourself. You know, Three of Cups energy isn't necessarily with other people. It could just be like the vibe that you got to go for, that you cultivate in your own private time. And if you are working with non-human entities, or with some friends, or with some type of group, you know, when I think of that cone site before, a lot of the times I think of occult groups, people who work, who do spiritual and magical workings together in groups. And if that is the case, then I think you should all get together and do some type of like just really feel-good banishing ritual, like, you know, banishing negativity, getting rid of negative emotions, whatever banishing ritual works, to sort of just refresh and reset your group dynamic. Instead of proceeding forward with whatever, you might have some type of occult goal that you're going for together in a group. Most groups do have some type of goal in that regard. And sometimes it gets really, really serious and really, really heavy. And you might just need to reset the emotionality with a good old banishing ritual. And those are fun. I know it sounds intense, like a banishing ritual. It's just like a good vibe kind of ritual, you know, where, and it works. It works every time, even simple banishing rituals like the cross. It just eliminates any negative feeling you were feeling, and then do some pranayama maybe, and it just gets rid of all the negativity. So this card fell out, confusion. We've got a bunch of fishes, like a sea snake. Oh, it's an octopus, right. Yeah, so we've got like a few different fish and an octopus in there. This is sort of like Seven of Cups vibe, right? This could be part of the burden you're feeling, is just not knowing, like, what is the point of doing all of this? What is the end goal here? I used to have a vision. I used to have a goal. I don't get it anymore. It doesn't seem meaningful anymore. Where's the meaning? You know, you could have had a change in perspective, a change in consciousness that has sort of sucked the meaning out of things that you had been working on. And you're finding it very, very difficult to find that meaning again, or to find a new meaning, to imbue something that you've been working on with new meaning when the old meaning was eliminated. And you could be finding that very, very difficult. Now, there's an interesting exercise where Oh, I can't remember. It might have been Alan Watts, I'm not sure. But where you purposefully do meaningless things. It's kind of a Zen thing to do, where you just do activities that have no meaning, just because it can sort of break you out of a funk and allow you to stop obsessing over having some sort of higher meaning or higher purpose, where you just, it could be anything, like creatively. If you're a painter, paint nonsense, like use your fingers instead of a paintbrush, and use oil paints instead of your acrylics. Do something that you normally don't do in a essentially meaningless way for no reason. And this has this psychological effect of like breaking down our need to apply meaning to things. And then we become comfortable doing things that have no meaning. And when that happens, we become sort of free and liberated from this need to have meaning and this need to have purpose. Because, you know, there might not be a higher purpose other than just putting forth the effort and just doing something that sometimes we can't see what the purpose is, or there might not be a real purpose for it, but it has this, this is so difficult to put into words. It unlocks a part of ourselves, and we don't know what that's going to be until it happens. So we do something that seems meaningless and seems purposeless and might actually be meaningless and purposeless, but then we find something about ourselves that is extraordinarily important and like groundbreaking and consciousness expanding. And it could be anything. That coming up with an example is kind of difficult. But I hope you understand what I'm saying. Breaking yourself out of a funk can require just doing meaningless stuff for a while. Like the Buddhists say, shut up and carry water. You know, a Buddhist monk goes to the monastery trying to expand his consciousness and gain spiritual insight or gain visions of God or the Buddha or whatever. And then he goes there and like the masters just make him like do chores. You know, they don't even teach him any meditation techniques or anything, and they just tell him to shut up and carry water, you know, sweep the steps. And he gets really, really angry about it, right? This new monk. He wants to learn. He wants to do the spiritual disciplines. He wants some occult experiences. He wants to do psychological experimentation on himself and all this stuff. And he's just being told to do chores around the monastery. But the more he does it, the more it becomes a meditation. That is one of the practices, is learning to do things without expecting a result. Just doing them because they need to be done, you know? So these menial tasks become the occult experimentation. These menial tasks become the meditation. They become the path to enlightenment. And when this comes out, and it's on the way of the open palm, you know, this path of mercy and forgiveness and gracefulness, is like, it indicates that you're going to find that. You're going to have that type of experience where if you quiet the heart and mind, you know, kind of take your mind off of it and expand that heart center despite the confusion. It's like, don't even worry about the confusion. Be graceful about the fact that you're confused and just keep doing it anyway. Don't change direction, even though you're confused and don't understand it anymore. Because I think you're going to find something very interesting. There's going to be a breakdown of this blockage, and you'll be liberated in some way. So I'm going to pull a token for you. One last thing for you, Pisces, before we go. One last thing to round this out. It's got the Three of Cups, the Knight of Cups, confusion, all on the way of the open palm, with long lasting, and a cone of protection. Oh, and dew block, whatever that meant. What does Pisces need to know, Oracle? One last thing to round this out. What is this? here we have the nurse, one of the human types. So here I have this, I made this little pictograph, glyph, whatever they're called, petroglyph of a hand, right? That's 5, it's like a stick with 5 points on it, like a hand. It's my primitive hand. But here we have the nurse. So I get the sense you're not alone in this, that you have good support, whether it's from an actual human being or a non-human entity or just a very supportive energy. You know, the nurse and the Knight of Cups, when they come out together, it's like, there's just a very supportive energy, especially with the Three of Cups. There's just so much, it's just love. There's this blanket of love covering you and a pillow of love under your butt. And this confusion is like maybe making you blind to that, which is why I think working on some type of heart expansion practice is going to be really, really helpful for you right now, because the mind expansion practice comes later. It's not going to help you at this point. There's no point in trying to understand intellectually what's going on, because this is not an intellectually understandable issue. This is an emotional or intuitive issue, and getting in touch with that emotional, intuitive part of yourself, forgiving it, expanding it, just allowing yourself, basically forcing yourself to feel good, is gonna be what carries you through. Having mercy on yourself, grace with others, is really that thing that's going to support you, that's going to revive you from this sort of stuck feeling or this period of rest that you should be taking for yourself. And yeah, you'd probably just need some convalescence, some healing, some time to think. But you'll know when it's time to move forward, and you'll succeed if you stick to your goal and stick to your aim and don't deviate at this time. So Pisces, I think the Oracle and I are going to leave it there for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. I always appreciate you hanging out with me. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you next time.